Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I am Violette Ayala, the founder of FemCity, and today's conversation is going to be very, very powerful. We're talking about removing mindset blocks. And if you have no idea what that is, a mindset block is something that you have going through your mind continuously that no matter what you do, how many books you've read, how many coaches you've hired, how many degrees that you have acquired, you're just not moving forward. There's generally some sort of mindset block there. And it can be you have a block that you don't deserve to make money, or making money makes you a bad person, or if you make money, it means that you're mean. It could be all sorts of mindset blocks. I've had so many. I think I've probably had like easily 15 mindset blocks. So it is a real thing. And today we're going to talk about how do you find those mindset blocks? How do you remove them once you found it? And also extra golden nuggets. So today I have with me in the, I was going to say the classroom, but it's kind of the classroom. I have Alyssa Williamson and also Julie Allyson. They're from our FemCity Founders program. And also they are our FemCity experts on the topic. If you're joining us live, feel free to ask questions. We're here for you. If you're watching the replay, you can also ask questions as well. We're always here for you. We want you to succeed. It makes us so happy when we see you making money and living a happy life. So Allyson, by the way, Allyson, I am loving your maternity pictures as you are going through. You're on week 32 now?
Alyssa.
Oh, wait, Alyssa. I'm sorry, Alyssa. You're on week 32, right?
31 now.
31. Oh my gosh, those pictures just add so much. They're just so sweet. And so congratulations again. Love all the posts that you're sharing with us. Share a little bit about your background for those that don't know you.
So yeah, I'm Alyssa Williamson. I'm a business and mindset coach. And I actually spent 14 years running a graphic design and marketing business too. So a lot of the problems and challenges I overcame as a business owner are what I now teach my clients using a proven process. So I'm a 2-time successful business owner, and I totally believe in the mindset work along with the strategy work to help your business succeed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Julie Allyson, share a little bit about yourself. By the way, I got a chance to hang out with Julie in Portugal.
Yes.
She sent me a text yesterday saying, miss you. And I think I'm having withdrawal, like from all of you. I don't know if it's the wine or our conversations, but I definitely, it was, yeah, a little bit of both. But I miss you. I miss you too. So share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Julie Allyson. I am the founder of Julie Allyson Coaching and Retreats. And I am basically the decision strategist. And I help women decide intentionally the direction of their lives. I use my You Decide framework, which is reset, reimagine, and reemerge. So we go through that process to help you get crystal clear on what it is that you want for your next chapter and making sure that you're writing it. I do that in one-on-one coaching and in retreats. And I was a nurse for 30 years. So I have a lot of nursing administration and leadership skills that I bring to the table for my clients as well.
Awesome. All right. So let's dive in. Okay. So again, we're talking today about mindset blocks. So my first question for our panel today is, how do you find your mindset block? Because I think a lot of times we don't know we have them. We just know that things are not clicking. Things are not moving forward. We're putting in all the hard work. We're exhausted. We're working the 10-hour days. We're working on the weekends. How do you figure out that you have a mindset block? How does that, and this is a question, we'll do both, but let's go to Alyssa first.
Okay. So you brought this up as a great point, Violet. There are so many mindset blocks that we do have, and they're subconscious. And so you don't realize that they're blocking you, but it's beliefs that you often made as a kid. It can be through, I'm a Theta healer, so it can be on the soul level, it can be on the genetic level, it can be past lives, that sort of thing. And so there's all these blocks that you just don't realize you're carrying around. And so my favorite way to do it is to bring it to the front so that it's more tangible. So I use something called muscle testing. And it's where I've talked about this a couple times, I believe, where the actual process of muscle testing is you have to be hydrated. You stand facing north and you close your eyes and you ask a yes or no question. Yes, you should lean forward. No, you'll lean backwards. And it's just a way to talk directly to your subconscious and find out. You can be like, I have this, we were talking about common muscle mindset blocks. So a lot of people is like, I have to hustle to make money. I have to work really hard to make money. Could come from just society. It could come from being an immigrant. I had it too. I would work 80-hour weeks to make 10K months. because my goal was 10K months. And so I did whatever it took to hit that goal. And so I had to clear that block. So it does take some inner work, take some journaling and writing it down. And you could be like, I have to work really hard to make money. And if you lean forward with your eyes closed, you have that block. And so I'll talk in the second part about how to clear them. But first you have to find them. You can't clear something or work on it until you know what it is. And I love muscle testing for that reason, because then you can write a whole list down and be like, oh, I don't have that block, or yes, I have that block. If muscle testing doesn't work for you, you need to drink more water and be more hydrated.
And so how do you, and I love that. That's like a pragmatic, everyone can do it. Literally you can do it today. How do you even know what question to ask? I mean, because I'm sure some humans are like, I don't have a mindset block, or gosh, maybe I do, but I don't know what it is. Like, I have no idea. What would be what's a good question to ask yourself in order to start uncovering that?
It comes down to journaling and looking at, where am I stuck? Where am I not gaining growth? Is it in my business? Is it in my personal life? And then doing some journaling. And maybe it's like, I'm afraid to make money, or it can be that your subconscious is keeping you safe. Maybe you're trying to lose weight and you're like, losing weight, I'll die or something. And it's really ridiculous things, but it takes that inner work. And that's why I take my clients through a process of helping support them in that. But anyone can do it if you just start journaling and looking at where you're not getting what you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah. And maybe even when you start journaling, like, I know something that I use is that I use, what is the thought that's holding me back? Because I have to come up with something. Like, it's not a yes or no. It's like, it's assuming there is something that's holding me back. And so if I journal on that question, it starts to uncover what are those narratives that are repeating over and over in my head subconsciously that are showing up in the physical form. So I love that. All right, Julie.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say, I love that because it's connected to your intuition, and your intuition will tell.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only reason why that is something that if I find myself like going circling, I have to ask myself that question, like, what is that thought that's holding me back? Because again, I have to write down something. And if you say, well, I don't know, you have to write something. There's no option of I don't know. So once you start writing, you will uncover it. You will just start writing, because you have to write something. And usually the first that you write down is the one that's at the forefront of your mind. So love that. I'm going to try that later on today. All right, Julie, what is your way of finding, or how do you recommend your clients to find the mindset blocks that they have?
Yeah, so I agree with everything Alyssa said. I think muscle testing, I learned that recently, and I think that's really beneficial, and journaling. So I agree with all those things. I think the signs that you have a block is, it's really awareness and feeling like, okay, if I'm frustrated in a certain area or doing a certain thing, or if I'm feeling unsure, or if I'm feeling less than, or wherever there's kind of a rub in what you're doing in your life or feeling or whatever, it's really important to take a step back there. When you feel that discomfort, take a step back and say, what is this? What is going on here? Right? It could be self-doubt. It could be imposter syndrome. It could be, I can't be that successful because no one in my family has ever been that successful. It's when you feel a rub. So be like, my thing is awareness. Awareness is so key. That's the first step. And giving yourself grace to take that time to look at what that thing can be. Because sometimes it's uncomfortable, right? It's like, I can't believe I have that block. Like, why would I have that block? I'm a professional. I'm smart. I know better. So it's giving yourself grace, being aware, taking that step back, and really looking at what is it that's stopping me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you mentioned also, and Alyssa touched upon this too, is that often the narrative is actually quite silly and ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I mean, one of the biggest ones I ever had was, and I found it as I was teaching a class on wealth. It was so ironic, but I was like stuck at this like income, like I couldn't get to that next level. And I was like, what is going on? Like, and as I was teaching a class, it hit me, for me, the block was, if I make more money than I am right now, people won't like me, which is, it's ridiculous, right? Like who's gonna be like, oh, you make that, I don't like you anymore. I mean, I can't imagine a real friend thinking like that, or a family member. For whatever reason, I picked it up. I absorbed it as my own. became real. And it was something that was definitely just spiraling in my mind. And so once I had it, I was aware, like you said, once you're aware of it, you dive into it, you release it. And sometimes you feel quite silly having it for so many years. You can move forward. And of course, you'll find other blocks. You're not perfect after like, oh gosh, now I'm great. Now I'm perfect. There's always a series of other blocks that we've acquired, that we've just absorbed from other people or from things that we've read or what people told us. I love that. And I also love that you mentioned a couple of times the awareness part of it, because I find so many humans, that's the discomfort there, is that instead of diving in because it's messy, because it's ugly, because it's totally not sexy at all, it is awful to dive in to your mind and kind of process trauma, narratives, how you picked them up, that we can spend most of our life just spiraling and keeping up with that kind of hamster motion of just always kind of spinning and spinning and spinning, because there's comfort there.
Right.
It's very comfortable to not to up level your life. It's quite comfortable to always be in debt. It's quite comfortable to always be like, panicking over the next, because we know that that's our default. It is very courageous to stop and pause and say, there's something going on here. I need to dive into myself. No one else is going to fix it. I can read books. I can listen to Julie, Violette, and Alice, and Alyssa. I was going to call you Allyson again, Alyssa. And it's just not, because we have to do the work ourselves. Then the teacher, all the teachers around us, we need to do the work ourselves, even guided professionally. So I love that you shared that, because that's where I see most people not diving in. It's just easier just to kind of put a Band-Aid on it and just keep on going. And maybe you're better for another month, but you'll always be.
It comes back up.
It comes back up. Exactly. All right. So we had some love. I want to go ahead and share this really quick. Love the muscle testing idea. My functional medicine doc does this for medical purposes. I never considered it for anything otherwise. Going to try it. Thank you. So I love that. Thanks so much for that extra love. All right. So now, so we've talked about how to identify it. I'm hearing myself twice. Do you guys hear me okay?
I hear a little bit of an echo, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Okay. We talked about identifying it. You guys both provided tools in order to move forward and remove them. But let's talk a little bit more about that. Alyssa, to remove those blocks. So now you've identified it. How do you begin to remove that block?
So I want to talk, there's multiple different methods, and I work with clients. I do EFT, I do NLP, I do Theta Healing, but I want to give you something that you can use and walk away. So I love EFT is like the entry level emotional freedom technique tapping to release it from, again, it's in your body. Your subconscious is connected to your body. So if you can release it from your body, that's how you can release it from your subconscious. So I'm not going to teach it here because it's a short period, but there are videos on how to EFT tap. And so it's starting in the karate chop point, and you actually go into that negative, and then you say, even though in the negative, I still deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And you're tapping through points on your face. And it's a way to release it. So a lot of law of attraction and manifesting is like, oh, don't acknowledge the negative. I believe it is so powerful it's there to teach you something, but you have to acknowledge it to release it. And so letting it go. EFT is just that simplest way, that like the entry level way that you can start with. You can always go to professionals and healers or coaches, but using that yourself. So once you know what your mindset block is, going, even though I have to work really hard to make money, or even though if I get rich, people are going to hate me, or even if I get rich, I'm going to die. Like those are beliefs that your subconscious has, even though they're unrealistic. You can then go, I still deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and go through the points to release it and let it go. And then I like to replace it with a positive. So I'm like, okay, this is the negative belief, subconscious belief I got. What do I want it to be instead? And so then I also tap that. That's just my own little variation, and then add some visualizations to it as well. But simple is tap it out and then replace it with something new.
I love
and
that.
I like that because the subconscious can be so intangible. So it's like, how can we bring it again back to something tangible that you can understand and clear? And then you muscle test it and see if it's gone. If it's not gone, it wasn't the bottom belief, but a lot of the times it is, and you can clear it.
I love that. The Theta Healing, I had not heard about it for many, many years. And my friend Nikki Novo, when she was getting certified in it, I was her guinea pig. And it was so powerful, so powerful. So I also love that you mentioned, Alyssa, that when we talk about manifesting, and I think this needs to be talked about more, is that we don't go into, like how you mentioned, to mention the negative because it does exist, it is there, and then to kind of reframe it and remove it from our subconscious. I think that's a big piece of manifestation that's missed out. Like they talk about, well, just, meditate on $1 million and, it'll show up, but they don't talk about the internal work that it takes to get to that place. I think once you remove a lot of those blocks, perhaps manifesting becomes easier. But I love that you mentioned that, like, to be aware, to understand that negative thought, and then to reframe it so that it becomes powerful and empowering, and then you're able to remove it. So I love that you mentioned that piece also, because I think it's definitely not talked about as much as I think it should be.
Mm-hmm. And it is. It's like, I put it, it's like the baggage at the front door. If you just shove all your baggage in old boxes at your front door, eventually no one can come in your front door. You have to clear it out. It's there to serve your purpose. It's trying to help you. So figure out what it's trying to teach you and then let it go and release it and clear that front porch so that the good things can come in.
I love that. All right, Julie, what is your tip to remove blocks when we uncover them?
Well, I love tapping too, Alyssa. So you and I have to talk more. I think that's extremely valuable. And so for my clients and for myself, and I'm kind of a say it like it is person. And so what I talk to my clients about is, again, and for myself, awareness. I'm going to go back to that. So but once you are aware, then it's really looking at what that belief is and realizing and internalizing that it's false. Understanding, where did it come from, right? Where did it come from? Was it how you were raised? Was it school? Was it church? Was it your neighbor? Was it whatever? And acknowledging, okay, that's where it came from. But is that my truth right now? No, it's not. So acknowledging that it is no longer my truth. And then the tapping and all that. Absolutely. And also, I think, we have been brought up, many of us, and raised with these false narratives. It wasn't our parents or schools or whatever's fault necessarily. It was how life was back then, right? And so it might be, oh, I need to work a full-time job and have a 401k and, benefits and PTO and blah, 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 in order to be successful, or in order to be safe, in order to be, comfortable that I'm going to be able to retire. Like, that's a big one for a lot of people. Well, it's actually not true. Right. But that's, so many of us are wired that way. So even from that perspective, to be able to say, okay, this is something that's ingrained in me. And, adults, people in our lives that are like, oh, well, if you're not doing that, then you're doing something wrong. And that's risky and that's dangerous and that's irresponsible. But if you look at it and say, okay, that's a block that is no longer true. That's a narrative that was imposed upon me. Those rules are not actually rules. And then being able to say, okay, I need to acknowledge this and feel comfortable with moving forward. So I feel like it's looking at it in the face and saying, is this true? Where did it come from? And then saying, you know what? No more. No mas.
No mas. That's right. So Julie and I talked about this when we were in Portugal also, is counting your receipts. When you get to that and you're looking at it, like counting your receipts, and your receipts meaning like all the factual information that supports your greater purpose, your greater good, that greater narrative. I find myself doing that a lot when I'm in a slump. You know what I mean? Like, let's say I have a bunch of grouchy people, emailing me grouchy things. You get into that slump. And then you start to kind of like, and then you catch it. You're like, no, wait, that's a thought that's going to, it's a block that's in the making. I'm going to stop it because these are the actual points. These are the receipts that support my greater purpose, my greater good. So you don't even give yourself the opportunity to acquire a new block from other people. I love this conversation. I love it. Love it. All right. So we are wrapping up. I can't believe it. Alyssa, what's the best way for people to find you?
My website, AlyssaWilliamson.com, has the links to my social media, but I also have a free training, 3 Simple Secrets to 25K months. No matter how much you want to earn, it's the basics I use and teach to help you build your business to be more successful while having more fun and luxury in your life.
I love luxury. Thank you so much. Julie, how can femmes find you to learn more about the work you're doing in this world?
JulieAllison.com. pretty simple. Again, my social media links are there. And for I have a great giveaway, which is a Wheel of Life PDF, which if you don't know about the Wheel of Life, it's basically a way to evaluate the satisfaction in key areas of your life so that you can kind of take a step back and look and see where do I want to maybe do some work. It's like a very small step into the coaching world, but a good exercise anyway. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And sorry about the I think it's my headset. I think it's my little AirPods. So when I hear myself speaking twice, I'm trying to not speak so much. So anyway, Alyssa and Julie, thank you so much for joining me today. Let's do it again. For those that want to learn more about FemCity, head over to femcity.com. We have a great free 30-day trial membership ready for you, and we will see you back here next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.